to your master science DINTAR of IADT. So next speaker is Ana Sofia Santos about the animal production in mountain areas and green assets. Ana?
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
The floor is yours.
Yes, I'll try to share and try not to do anything wrong. Do not promise, however. Okay. Is it? Yes? Are you seeing the presentation?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So I will. Are you seeing in presentation mode? Now you're seeing, yes?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So thank you. I'm very jealous because I'm not there, but we'll have other opportunities, hopefully, in other projects that we have, so that I can finally visit Farcadona. So we're today to talk a little bit about the green assets and animal production, and following Laurent's presentation, which was very interesting, and also some presentations in the morning. I think that we can make a very good overlap and interlink a lot of issues in the different countries, which is very, very interesting. So we would like to center the presentation on the fact that, as we all know, the new CAP is, coming up. The agreement is apparently being finalized under the Portuguese presidency, and there are a lot of issues coming with this new CAP. And apparently, there is a very honest desire from the European Commission to promote rural areas, and also to promote the type of farming practices that are actually low income farming practices, traditional and not intensive farming practices, which have the downside of not producing a lot of animal output, but have a big number of upsides, and that's what we will try and talk a bit today. So these numbers are also known. The population is rising, but the rural population is still decreasing. Actually, there have been some studies that are starting to be done, and some speculations that this pandemic might actually reverse this downward tendency for the population on rural areas to decrease because of remote work and all of that. I think that rural areas, but this is a personal opinion, we still don't have data on that, might be a big opportunity for finally rural areas to change this downward tendency. But still the tendency is apparently there, so we still have this problem of depopulation, and this project called Rural is one of our focus, precisely that. So the 9 CAP objectives, they are very related to promoting and of course the welfare and the well-being of the farmer as well, which is good, to not only focusing on the animals, but also rural areas are again and biodiversity and landscapes, try to promote them. So we have phrases like vibrant rural areas, preserved landscapes and biodiversity. But we have the other side, which is climate change action, environmental care. If we look at it all, together, it seems like they fit in. But when we start looking from an efficiency point of view, there are a lot of discrepancies between the different objectives that we might have within all these 9 big general objectives. And this is the catch, maybe, as in all policies. So we have this, this cloud of beautiful words that we all use, and sustainability is one of them. I'm not gonna go into philosophical considerations on what do we understand as sustainability. It's not the objective here, but we have become used to use a lot of these words and, you know, concepts without actually, I think most of the times, really thinking on what they mean or what they imply into the different contexts that we have. And this is, in our opinion, the big challenge, to address these issues, these words, and the practices and the reality. You know, what is really happening in the field, what is really happening in mountain areas, in our case, because it is our case, we live in a mountain area. So sometimes there's a big distance between words and, you know, and what is really happening in the field. Concerning the biodiversity, and we have the land cover richness indicator is generally very high for at least most of the countries that we are here today, which means that concerning, you know, the type of biodiversity that we can find in the land cover, it is really high. So this is good. And at least in the case of Portugal, we are, you know, a big high concerning the EU average, and this is good. But again, there is a lot of differences, and even if in a small country like ours, we have big differences between the north and the south, concerning landscapes and farming practices, and it's almost like it's two different countries. And also that happens throughout Europe. So if we pick up the whole Europe, we have big differences concerning breeding systems and whatever. So some pictures of an example here. This is Alvadia. Some of you have seen these pictures. And this is a very typical of what is happening now in the villages where we still have people. So we still have the areas that are cultivated for, you know, and these areas are temporary grass pastures and forage production for mainly cows. And then we have all these areas which are the common lands. And these areas, as you see here, bush have been increasing because, you know, there are less people, and less people have less animals, and less animals use less the area. And then we have, you know, the problem that is collected with depopulation. So what we are seeing throughout Europe, and we in Ruralidade Verde defend that and try to do something about it, is to promote the reintroduction in some cases of herbivores, with the purpose of encouraging grazing as a way to keep pasture areas, preventing bush encroachment and habitat degeneration, and obviously also prevent rural and forest fires, which, you know, can be, as you know, a problem. However, this type of management and livestock practices or systems are low productive. I mean, efficiently, when we talk about only production efficiency without looking at, you know, the externalities that we can have, they are time consuming and eventually low income. And I put this as a question mark, because, you know, maybe we can work on this. I say time consuming because, you know, it's cows less, because cows usually here, they just open the door and they let them out. So cows work themselves out, but sheep and goat, they need a shepherd, and we will have 2 shepherd schools here. And the fact that we have throughout the different countries in Europe shepherd schools uprising again, it's on our opinion like a very good and excellent sign that this practices might, you know, be again promoted, at least in a good way. We have, for example, a pilot experience that we are doing, in this case is with horses. And we have been looking at the impact of these animals on permanent grazing 24/7 for 1 year now in a closed area, to see the impact of these animals on regeneration. And you can see here some pictures, and you see, besides what they eat, and this, as you can see, you don't have grass here. This is just, you know, shrubs, and they eat them. But besides what they eat, they open the ways. They don't eat some plants in certain times of the year, and actually help promoting the pollination, and in this case, this type of butterflies, which also happens with another species, which is with cattle. And they open the way, and of course, they leave their dumpings behind, which increase the organic matter in this area. When we look at these animals, and we have stood like for 2 days from sun up until sundown, looking at them, seeing where they were, how much they would eat, etc. And here we see this was a picture taken like 3 weeks ago. I could ask you which is the non-grazed area, but I think you see well, it is this. So there's a big difference 1 year later. And of course, here we don't see the height of the sward, because in the non-grazed, these bushes, you know, at this moment, they can reach your, you know, your waistline. And in the grazed area, they are on your feet. So it's a big difference. And this type of approach we can use with other species. We know what they eat. There's a lot of studies that we have contributed personally, but also from other authors, concerning cows, horses, sheep, and goats, what they eat throughout the year. We can see the impact, and this is well known. This is not only empiric science. This is published data. So at this moment, what we have is that we know that different animal species have different feeding behaviors, and this is proven to have very positive effects on biodiversity maintenance, shrub encroachment in mountain and other areas, and also they are beautiful to look at. When we look, and this is where we would like to arise at the end, when we look at the list of potential agriculture practice that eco schemes could support, and as you know, eco schemes are to be published throughout the different member states as good practices to be financed in some way under the eco scheme and the green assets umbrella, like that. If we look at only this potential list, we can find, and these are just some, okay, I can give you, I'm going to put here the link so that you can access, because this is a public document. We can see, for example, in agro-ecology practices, low intensity grass-based livestock systems. This could be a chance. In agroforestry, establishment and maintenance of high biodiversity silvopastoral systems. This can also be a way to promote these green assets or green services that we can have. High nature value farming practices, shepherding on open spaces and between permanent crops, transhumance and common grazing. And of course, there are others. This to say, we should be watchful. These eco schemes will be promoted by the different member states. So there's a liberty of the different member states to define the eco schemes that they will promote. There's not that big amount of money under the eco schemes, but it could be finally an opportunity to see the green assets that farming, in this case mountain farming or production systems, can produce. They do produce, but they are not accounted for. So this could be finally an opportunity for these green assets, these green services, to be accounted for, and finally to have the difference, because it is very complicated when we have a goat being produced with a shepherd that has to go out every day for 365 days, and then he sells the little lamb for 50 euros. This is not fair. It's not the fair income for the work and the services that this type of production gives. As an example, and I was hearing, I can't remember the name, but in the morning a colleague that was talking about the link between heritage material and immaterial, and linking the food, how to influence the consumer. And just now, Laurent was also saying, the marks, of course, the EGP, the DOP, etc., that we can have, the certifications. And this they are our culturalers. Catarina is presenting shortly after, and Terra Maronesa is trying to do that, and linking the meat to the animal. The pictures that you saw earlier, they are Maronesas linking the gastronomy to the animal, to the intangible heritage